Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be running some anhydrous. I just went and picked up a couple tanks and dropped them off in the field that we're going to. I got one tank on the tractor that's, 50-60% full yet. So I'm going to get going over there and we're going to do some point rows. Dad's on his way to pick up the truck that we worked on the other day, and when he comes back he's got to work on the sprayer. This cylinder, that's what folds up the boom. It won't extend all the way, so when you fold it up it gets about a foot from that cradle and stops. So we're thinking that the packing or something is come apart in there and it just won't extend all the way. So we're trying to get this pin out, and we've heated on it and beat on it and used the air chisel, and it just will not come apart. So when Dad gets back, he's gonna work on taking that cylinder apart because we really need to get the sprayer running. I'm gonna go work on anhydrous while he does that, but first, I gotta grab my gloves. I left them on top of the sprayer tank. I was just informed that it's Sadie's birthday. Happy birthday, Sadie. I've got one tank hooked up already. I tried some yesterday morning, but the field just wasn't quite that fit, so we let it sit. We're gonna try it again today on a different farm that's a little bit lighter. Better check the oil. We're good. This field I'm going to is just north of Dad's house across this county ditch. We've got a nice farm bridge here built out of 2 flat train cars. It's a pretty deep ditch. I wouldn't want to fall in there. The bridge we had before was just some I-beams with wooden planks on it, and it was really sketchy. The combine duals would hang off the edge of it, and it was just not safe, so we finally had to do something about it, and we ended up with these flat cars. Now it's a pretty nice bridge. I've got my one tank hooked up already. I've got to go out there and open the valves. We always shut them off at night. I'm going to see how much I've got left in there, so I know about how much of this I can get done. So this field I'm in, there's a ditch over there and that big county ditch right here. And when they put these ditches in, they didn't put them straight with the county ditch. So this edge goes off on a big angle. So what we do is we've got our planter track in our auto steer. We make a line straight through the field that's straight with that ditch, and then we fill in the points in between. So when we come back and side dress, we don't have to worry about running over any corn that way. Anhydrous is how we get our nitrogen to our corn. Nitrogen is one of the 3 major nutrients that a corn plant needs to survive. And anhydrous is the cheapest way of getting N, but it's also the most dangerous because anhydrous is a liquid when it's under pressure or when it's super cooled, because its boiling point, I just looked this up. I didn't know this off the top of my head, so I'm not that smart, but the boiling point of anhydrous is -28 degrees Fahrenheit. So when it comes in contact with the atmosphere, it turns into a gas. And the word anhydrous means without water. So in the state that it's in, it's always looking for water. So when you inject it into the soil, it bonds with the water and the moisture in the soil and stays in the soil. But if you have a leak or hose breaks or something and you're standing next to it, and it comes in contact with your skin or your lungs or your eyes, it will just eat all the moisture out of your body, and it's really dangerous for that purpose. It'll basically burn you. I know a couple people who have been burned, and it's not a cool thing. So it's something to be respected, but if you do it right, it can be handled safely. Well, this spot looks a little wet to me, but Dad said he drove his truck through it and he said it should be all right. So we're gonna see what happens. It's not perfect, but it's sealing, so we're calling for more rain this weekend, so we thought we might try and get it done while we can. So I believe there's about 112, 114 acres at this farm, and I don't think I'm going to need all 3 of those tanks, but we've got some more around Dad's house that I think we're going to be able to do after I get this done. That tank I'm pulling has 60% left in it. I don't even know if that's going to be enough. I'd have to do some math, but we'll figure it out. Now that we've gotten some heat and some rain, the fields are starting to green up. This is all chickweed out here. It's a winter annual, so it germinates in the fall and then goes dormant over the winter, and then it turns green in the spring and just causes problems for us when we're trying to get the field cultivator through. But I think we're going to no-till this farm, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. In a couple weeks, it'll start dying off anyway. It'll be done with its life cycle. So this is our rate controller. The anhydrous comes out of the tank through this big hose and into this. There's a flow meter in there, and this reads how much is flowing and opens a gate valve to inject the right amount into the soil. So this is reading the speed of the tractor, so if I speed up or slow down, it'll adjust the flow of the anhydrous, so we're putting on the right rate at the right time. We're putting on 170 pounds to the acre. So if you think of an acre, think of a football field. That's about the size of an acre. And we're putting 170 pounds of anhydrous spread across that football field, basically. That's enough to sustain the crop and get it through the summer. So I'm about to raise the applicator up. I'll try and show you what happens when the anhydrous hits the atmosphere. Did you see that little white cloud? That's not a cloud you want to be messing with. Got our points done in this field. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is right over there. I thought we had an issue here. This row looked like it was plowing pretty good. While I'm out, I'm just going to check everything out, make sure we don't have any other problems. So like I told you, the anhydrous is so cold that it just frosts up everything that it comes in contact with. See, this pipe fitting is all covered in frost, all these hoses. The way it frosts like that is a good way to tell if you got a problem with one of your knives or your hoses, because if a hose isn't frosted up, then you know that it's not flowing anhydrous. I've still got about 30-35%. Applying anhydrous is one of my favorite jobs on the farm. I don't know what it is about it. It's dangerous, it stinks, but I just enjoy it. I don't know why. I had a big wad of trash got plugged up on one of my row units, so I just decided to light it on fire. That way we don't have to deal with it this spring when we come in here and plant. The neighbors are over there planting potatoes. You can see how much the northern border of this field is angled different than the southern border along this ditch. If we were to leave that, every time we'd pull up in while side dressing, we would just be running over corn and tearing out corn, and it would just be a mess. So this is why we go out and do point rows. Just got done with this field. All I needed was that one tank, so I'm probably just gonna drop the empty tank in this field and hook on to the other 2 full ones and bring them back to Dad's house where I'm going to need them. These aren't real fun to hook up by yourself, but I usually get it done. We have a real original name for the farm that I was just in. It's called Across the Ditch. This is why. Well, I'm back at Dad's, grabbed a bite to eat. They're still working on the sprayer. We still can't get that pin out. He just went over to borrow a better torch from a guy, so he's gonna come back. While I'm waiting, I'm gonna go do some point rows here at the home farm. So as I was taking off to go do anhydrous, Dad pulled back in with that torch. There he goes. We end up getting the pin out. He's gonna take the cylinder over to Rensselaer and hopefully they can figure something out. I doubt if we'll be able to do any spraying today, but it'd be nice if they could get that fixed. I'm gonna go out and do my anhydrous. This ground is pretty fit. I'm kind of impressed. Of course, this is a tiled farm, but it's in pretty good shape right now. See, the blue part is where I've already been. It's creating a coverage map. So that's kind of the reason why we traded that old brown box for the 2630 and then put the 2600 screen in here. So when we go out and do our point rows like this, it'll make that blue coverage map. So when we come back in side dress, we can go up and stop where we already have been, because after the corn's up, you can't see your anhydrous tracks, so you don't really know where to stop. Before, we were going out and putting flags where we stopped, and then the flag would get run over or blow away, and then I know we were double applying in spots just because we don't know what we did and what we didn't do. But having that nice screen in here should solve that problem. See, we've got some corn stalks piled up here. This is all I've got for a torch, so we're gonna try and light them up. If we leave these stalks and then try and run the field cultivator through, sometimes they'll get bunched up and it just causes headaches. So we like to go out and burn them. When this field over the winter, it had water standing on it and it washes the corn stalks up in piles and then just causes problems. This little torch isn't ideal, but I like to carry something in the tractor all the time with me in case I have to do something like that. I've got some more corn stalks to burn. In case you were wondering, the Cubs are losing. Got another field done. I've just got to hop across the ditch right here to go to my next field. If you haven't noticed, we have a lot of ditches. The reason for that is because way back when, way before my time, when my grandpa bought this farm, they didn't have a tile system that could handle sandy soil. They used clay tiles, and if you put clay in sand, it would work for like 6 months and then just fill with sand and be useless. So they dug ditches to drain all the farms, which worked great, but now it leaves us with 120 acres in 4 fields. So it's kind of a pain, but they're already here. We can't really do much about it. Now they have plastic tile that you can put a sock around and it can handle sandy soil, but the ditches are already here, so that's what we got. Now I've been saying side dress a lot. I guess I could explain that if there's anyone who doesn't understand. What side dressing is you come back after the corn is a foot tall or whatever, and you go in and drive between the rows and inject your nitrogen, or it could be whatever other nutrients you want to apply, but in our case it's nitrogen right in between along the side of the row, and that's why they call it side dressing. You could also top dress, which would be if you want to broadcast a dry fertilizer like urea over the top of the crop that's already growing. That's called top dressing. So that's what I mean when I say that. Hope I didn't confuse anybody. So half of this field is chisel plowed and half of it's not. Dad was planning on putting his cows out here over the winter, but then for whatever reason he decided not to. So we'll probably have to do something with these stalks. I know we're going to spread some manure out here, so that usually leaves a bunch of big piles and we have to disc it or something, but we'll have to do something to manage this residue. I'm gonna get out and look this thing over before I fold it up and move on to the next field. Make sure we don't have any problems. Got some dirt built up here. Oh, about 45%. That should be enough to finish what I've got to do today. Everything else is looking good. So like I was saying, the anhydrous comes in these tanks, comes out that big hose into the rate controller, then it goes out of each side to this manifold. It comes out through these small hoses down to the knife, goes down to the bottom where it's underground and injects it into the soil. And then these discs are called sealers. What these sealers do is they throw dirt back over the trench where the knife runs to cover up the anhydrous and get more contact with the soil to keep it in the ground, because if you just run the knife, a lot of times the anhydrous will turn into gas and seep back out of the soil. We want to keep it in the soil because it's really expensive. Alright, let's do some quick math. Like I said, anhydrous is expensive. We don't want to be wasting it. Anhydrous weighs 5 pounds per gallon. This tank holds 1,500 gallons. That's 7,500 pounds. We're putting 170 pounds per acre, so I can do 44.1 acres on one tank. Now, anhydrous costs around $675 a ton. 400 gallons equals 1 ton. We're putting 34 gallons to the acre. That's the conversion from pounds to gallons. Now, if you take our rate, 170 divided by 2,000, that's 0.0085 tons per acre times $675. It comes to $57.38 an acre. I had a cheat sheet. I can't do that off the top of my head, but my point is, it's expensive and we don't want to be wasting it. This rate controller has, you can program 2 rates. If you see, now I'm running 130 pounds per acre. If I get up on a sand hill where I know the corn won't be as good, I can drop that rate down so we're not wasting any more money putting on too much nitrogen that I know the crop won't actually utilize. And that's all the anhydrous I'm going to do for today, unless Dad comes back and tells me to do something else. So I found some more stalks in this field and the last field that I need to burn, but my little dinky torch isn't gonna cut it, so I'm gonna see if I can find Dad's torch and take the 4-wheeler out and light up some stalks. How do you guys like our new shop? Isn't that nice? I can't find Dad's torch. He must have it in the truck that he's driving, so I don't really want to go home and get mine, so I'm going to go to Grandpa's, get the 8430 in the strip till, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of strip till before it starts raining again tomorrow. I'm going to go fire up the 8430 and let it warm up a little bit, and then I'm going to go 43s over there. I'm going to put it in the shed now that we have room in case it rains. Alright, we got Grandpa's 4320 put away in case it rains. That tractor is kind of Grandpa's baby. He bought it brand new in 1972. It was the first 4320 sold out of that dealership at the time, and that dealership's long gone. So, one owner tractor, fairly low hours. It's around like 5,800 or something, but it's kind of a family heirloom. I don't ever want to get rid of it. Plus, it is kind of handy.
Week, Iroquois Market, located at 106 Lincoln Avenue in downtown Iroquois.
Birds are great, aren't they?
Cardinals on the block, and round 2 of hockey's postseason.
So this is what we call strip tilling. We go through and make these black strips, and then when we come in and plant, our planter will line up with those strips, and there'll be a nice fresh seed bed with no trash in the way that we can plant right into. Ideally, we would have had this done last fall, but we didn't buy this strip till rig till December, and we just haven't had a chance to do it till now. So we're just gonna do a little bit, try it out, see how we like it. We're thinking in some of our more poorly drained soils that are a little sandier, those nice black strips will warm up better in the spring and it'll maybe dry out a little bit quicker. So we're wanting to get more into no-till and strip-till, and we're thinking this might be a good option for us, but we'll try it and see how it works. The boss is out here checking on me. Stopped with it in the ground to show you what we're doing here. This is very similar to the anhydrous bar. It's got a coulter in the front, then a knife. It's actually an anhydrous knife, and then 2 sealers. But the only difference is we've got these row cleaners that throw the trash off to the side, and then a rolling basket is what we call this. It kind of packs down the strip and makes it a little more firm so you can plan into it a little easier. But it's making really nice strips. I hope we like this. I think it'll be a lot better than burning a bunch of fuel chisel plowing. So that's going to be about it for this video. I'm just going to finish strip tilling this 20 acres here and see what happens after that. We got quite a bit done today. It took us a lot longer to get that pin out of the sprayer than I would have liked to have seen, but it happens. Hopefully the shop can get that fixed pretty soon so we can get to some spraying. There's a chance of rain tonight. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at the forecast. We just missed a big rain. It just went right to the south of us. We got a few sprinkles, but not enough to hurt anything. Once again, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment if you got any questions, and tell your friends. Thanks.